All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Fadil as the host for today's podcast, joined by my friend beside me, Lathifah, as co-host for the podcast, and then three of our friends. They are Yudhis, Nenno, and Husien. They're here with us to discuss today's topic. The topic for today's podcast is child labor.
That's right. Our topic today in all is chat level. As we all know, that chat level is a social mechanism that often occurs in developing Asia. So first, I wanna ask you, Yudhistira, can you explain about chat labor and what do you think about this phenomena?
Yep, so I totally agree with your opinion earlier. You said that this is a phenomenon that always happen in developing country or third world countries. And earlier, you also asked about the definition of child labor and why this phenomenon is often happen and the time and why this phenomenon is often happens. So the first one is the term of child labor. So according to ILO, child labor can have the connotation of exploitation young children for their labor with little pay or consideration for their personality development, safety, health, and future prospect. And most of the child labor are no longer have the chance to enjoy playing or going to school like the other children. And then about your second question is that why this phenomenon happens, right?
Yes, why it is.
Okay, so there are some factors that why this phenomenon happen. And as we know that most of child labor or underage workers are from families with low socio-economic status. And in addition to poverty, education is also a key factor that causing the emergence of child labor. The low level of education of parents can also affect the mindset of children who consider earning money more than important than going to school.
So as you discussed before that making money is more important than school. What are your guys' thoughts about this?
Well, I think it's not something that mindset related. It's like something it's forced because I've seen the news and there is a girl who's selling a breads because her mom told her so if she don't want to, she will get beat up or something.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is awful. I hope that little girl is okay. Most of these cases happen because of the parents, right?
But also because of their condition, it can make them to think like that.
The conditions like financial problems, right? I agree that those things could also be the factor of this child labor, but that's still the parents' fault, not the child. We know that they have financial problem in their family, but that doesn't mean that to have to put your children to work. There is probably someone's gonna say that. But what if children need to help their parents by themselves? Well, they are still children. They still cannot comprehend the situation that they're currently live. All they could think that they want to make their parents happy, so they want to help any way they could. This is called emotional manipulation. The parents are doing this by guilt tripping their children into working at a such young age. If the parents know that they have financial problem, they shouldn't have children in the first place. In the first place? What do you guys think?
Yes, you're right that if their parents know that if they don't have a good economy, they shouldn't have kids, right? But
Yes.
why do they keep doing it? Because poor people has a more difficult access to the education, so they don't have access to sex education, and it will be more difficult if they don't think about the future. But let's make an example like they are married too young, they don't think about 10 or 20 years ahead, and also there are lack of knowledge about the family planning, or in Indonesia we call it as PLKB. So the parents that are only graduated from elementary middle or high school, they don't know what is the birth control pill. And also, Indonesia is the majority of Muslim. So in Muslim it says that if you are killing your child before their birth, it's a sin. So maybe they are also thinking that if they consume the pill, it kill their children. So it's biggest sin. And I also read why the Japanese people they don't want to get married, maybe because of the if they're married, the living expense that they have it's gonna be expensive. But in Indonesia, I don't think that you mentioned that will happen because Indonesia we often hear that if you have a lot of kids, you also have a lot of loss.
Yeah, well, here in Indonesia, right, married people are expected to have children. It's like obligatory to have children if you are married. If you don't have children, often like your own close people like your our parents or our grandparents will look down on us.
Well, I think you guys quite right. There are some of your opinion that I could disagree. Like for example, we're gonna get that there soon. I'm gonna go over my point. I come from those winters of economic low socioeconomic background. I have lived those. I live in the suburban area. I think the main problem is not it can be generalized. It can be generalized to its only parents or well parents play a part in children development of course. I think it's the children itself. For example, like it's not a mindset. It's not a mindset. Well, I quite disagree with that because you know children have some responsibility to their parents as well, and it depends on what the children wants. They have a freedom of speech for themselves, also they have rights, and you don't know how the children thinks, how they responsible for their parents. I think the problem in itself, in which the parents will go to education and information about their children. There is, I think, the main problem of child labor in Indonesia is the low education level and make, which is those problems are mainly solved little by little from the government. And yeah, that's what I think. It can be generated. Well, to make a point, we need to generalize things. Whether it's the parents' fault or the children's fault, we can generalize that because the kid can help with the economy. Right? In my case, some of my friends back then think that making money is easier. Like, when you are going to ask simple monies and traffic light, then it's easier for them to make money that way instead of getting a job or something. And don't get me wrong, my friend also works in factories. There are bread factories near my school, and some of my friends work there. When I asked them why, they said that they want to help their parents and to buy books at school. Because their parents don't want to work or something like that. So my point is that some children have some level of responsibility towards the parent, which is often being abandoned by the parent. It's a parent, and they think that they have full right for their children's, and it's kind of a problem because getting to here countries, difficult situations. In third world country, like we said, we are developed constantly, and we need that high level of education. But some areas, some of the district in Indonesia, not developed quite well, developed along the way that the government things plans. See, I think that is with this not level of distribution among the world people which in turns make more problem and low economic loss of people. Alright. Yeah.
Right. I don't have anything to say, but thanks to Hussein and Yudhis to share your opinion.
All right. Just like Hussein said, there are children, right, that are abandoned by their parents. Talking about abandonment by their parents, let's talk about territory. There are any possibility, right? There are groups of people that try that hurt children into work, right? And like in certain territory.
In my opinion, it's probably, but the leader of them is not also a children. The leader of them is probably dog because they're trying to manipulate people around traffic light because they're kids. So we're gonna say sorry.
Okay, so equal territory, I mean, in my opinion, it could be have a territory. For example, like I said that 100 street child in street, and if they're in the same area, their income that the money that they get from yeah, it's gonna be decreased. So I think from that it's needs some leader to lead them so they can organize it, or if we want to talk about more next thing about it, let's say they have their own gang. So the gang leader is gonna lead them. So their area, we can assure that it's safe and it's safe from them, and so they can also make a full income from that area.
I agree, bro.
Right?
Yeah, because it's something that's happened to me. Yeah, we make it and sometimes like we get money to buy guitar or something and we go to the traffic lights and the money will go from that certain area of the street will get shared. Usually it's an equal share because the leader get all the money
Yeah, correct.
and we use that money sometimes to just buy things that are want that we want or so same I said on my report to our parents, which is something that is not right. That is kind of straight away from responsibility. So responsibility of us as children also. Yeah, it means that we there are some territorial like that also, and there are leaders. There's someone there's someone that made the some kind of organization or people. We kids are easy to manipulate, right? And yeah, it's
So you agree that at the moment you were manipulated.
no um, because we're see are easy to manipulate. That is my point, and we are easy to manipulate to something like, oh, you can use the money to, for example, go to internet cafes or buying game currency like that. You buy some toys, and it's kind of an easy way rather than working to pull money and ask money in the traffic and gather that money and then share it. So it's kind of an easy way is this. Asking people for money is the problem in and of itself. So it's not right, but yeah. I couldn't speak about it, but it happened to me, so I can say anything about it.
Well, you said before that manipulating the children. So maybe do you think that they have really close connection with the children?
Can you repeat that question?
That the adult manipulating the children, and maybe that someone who manipulates them that have close connection with the children.
Yeah, of course, those. You see, I only give an example. For what was happened. You guys probably see in fact, like sometimes they are family and they come with their parents and they bring a speaker or something like that, or the parents and doll custom and the children in the small doll custom. Yeah, that is the connection to that. Or sometimes they have their friends or their uncle that brings them to that and they hand them some package or pockets like that to ask for money to manipulate people secretly. More, it's more likely that they have something information or they are close by and in many cases it's people will believe that that particular family that needs money is exploiting people's sympathies or wants to be killable. Yes. Using that manipulation, using that manipulation is more profit to exploiting children.
All right. Talking about these children, do you think that they still have their own house to go back or they are homeless?
Well, I think if you look at the near Miska, there are families that live in areas like that. So I don't think that they have home when they're done with their thing in the street. So I think that they are homeless and they just live and yeah, live their life in the streets. So what do you guys think about it?
Well, remember the girl that I talked about, isn't it? Well, the news came from her neighbor. So the neighbor told and spilled some tea about it that her mom is alcoholic and her dad is like a parking guard. So if she doesn't get enough money, she will get beat up or something like that. So sad. But like the topic, we are shared home, shared neighbors, and that.
Right, they could also share their homes to their neighbors. You have anything to add?
I don't have anything to add actually.
I have some symbols. I'm not going to talk about the second point, but in case of students, we often see children in the life that they don't finish they being involved sometimes there are some yeah, it is kind of some of them are almost the also the next year. Yeah, that is what I think. It's like,
Things like that prepared me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but it's no mom.
it is sad. Phenomenal. All right. Is that all for today's?
I think that's all for us. But maybe we can do the question.
All right. Before the end of this podcast, we want to open a Q&A section. If someone wants to ask, they could type it in the chat box or open their mic.
May I ask?
Sure, go ahead, Dean.
Okay, thank you. My name is Dean, and I would like to ask, is child labor significantly worse in Indonesia, or is it like worse in maybe a country outside of Indonesia? I mean, take America, for example. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. Dah, sudah.
They have some answer for this. But I think it's not something that was Indonesia here. And many different countries that we have some different child labor. You know, we only look at things on the level, the abyss or the point that is child labor. And additionally, that the use of children in traffic light. The people seem to be the same. Some people have abortion. For example, parents that they use in the village and they for some of my family that and so their children maybe this is their something like that on social media the leverage status leverage their status and we have something about children working on factories, the soft working laborers. Yeah, I think that's what we generally we are not laborers, but it's an issue that needs to be addressed. That's my I have you may have different views.
Yeah, I can also add that something says that the Indonesia is the highest of government. So I don't think so because if you have a high human resource, so there are also you need a lot of tools for that. So let's say for example like China. So in China that I've also read it somewhere that because their population is so high that they also force their child to work because if they don't work, so they don't have money, so they don't get food for that. So even in developed, no, it's not. Even in a country like China, they still have a child labor thing like that. Yeah, I think it's helpful me.
I've read some articles. So in Africa, they are using child labor too for a chocolate factory and coffee factory. So I think Indonesia is not the worst, but it could be say it cannot say as middle, but not the worst one, I guess.
Yeah, we can, I think the closing is that we can like avoid that just that some consequences the level of child laborers. It depends on the country itself. Because I think we would have to go now. For example, like we said in China, they have a lot of patients, so sometimes that children need to work so that they can eat, they can work on the economy and things like that. So it's not the worst discrimination. There's some countries like you said, for example, the United States. All of the country have some issues have over it's not we can level them more we can level them equally because they have some different how far they experience. Thank you.
All right, to add to that, like the worst or like the most cases of child labor are located in the Middle East, in according to this article, like Somalia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Zimbabwe, and Yemen also are the few places that where child labor is the most prevalent.
Is the explanation done?
I'm sorry, if you repeat that.
Is the explanation finished?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think I take it as the child labor in Indonesia is not that significantly worse than even developed countries, right? So yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question. All right, I think that's for today's podcast. I'm sorry, but we're all right. Thank you all for tuning in for today's podcast. Thank you. Goodbye.